bait of the day. A Megabass 110 plus 1 blank that I got from Predator Baits and painted it in a custom finish that my wife helped me design. She helps me design a lot of the certain colors that I do and everything, and I'll go over those. Are you ready to run and gun? It's time for blast off. Let's go. Hey guys, Todd here with you. Welcome back to Bassin 101. That's a really good stained water color right there. The topic of today is basically, should you paint your own lures? You know, there's a lot of companies out there that you can get blanks from, and a lure blank is basically just, you know, it's a copy of the stuff that's out there now that has no paint on it. You finish it yourself. There's different ways of doing it. You can use spray paints, you can use airbrushes. You know, everybody laughs at spray paints and everything. I'm going to tell you what, when I built these balsa baits that I did a few years back, that's what I call my root beer chartreuse. And that's done with spray paint. I used stencils to get certain shadings on the back and used a brush to flick the brown paint on there to give it that root beer look to it, dotted the eyes and everything else. But that's with spray paint. You can do a good job with spray paint. I just coat it with epoxy. You know, I built these back in 2018, and it's a great running bait. I need to find the rest of them. There's the only one I can find for right now. I gave another one to a buddy of mine. But yeah, spray paint does a good job. You know, nothing wrong with spray paint. But these here I did with airbrushes and of course stencils that you can get online. Blank companies, there's really cheap blanks that will actually leak because they're not seamed very well. And there's other companies that really produce a good product. Now, my favorite place to go personally myself, and I haven't talked to any of these companies, so I'm not, you know, trying to say that these companies are the best, or I'm even affiliated with them, because I'm not. But Predator Baits, Jim Sharpton, he runs Predator Baits. And man, he makes a quality product. He really does. The wiggle warts, these, I mean, he makes Spro copies, Rapala copies, DT copies, stuff like that. You know, the man's really good at doing that. And he's also makes sure he puts good quality products inside these things too. These, you know, these have the weight shift in them too, and these act just like the Megabass. That's what they're a copy of. You know, another version is of it is this clear version, which you can see all the different. You can see the rattles and stuff in a lot better. This is clear too, but you just can't quite see through it as well because of the colors I use. But this is another color that my wife helped me design. We call it angelfish. But you know, just showing you the different kind of patterns you can do this you can't buy in a store. You know, and another one, this is the original angelfish pattern that she designed, helped me design, oh gosh, 5-6 years ago. And another translucent color with a little bit of, has a little holographic inside of it. That, again, Megabass don't have these colors. And if you want something really shiny, this is another angelfish pattern that she helped me design. And this one's fully hologrammed on the outside, so it's fully chromed. And just got different shadings and stuff and color shifts and everything else on there. But again, you know, you're painting stuff that nobody has. So you can keep it simple. You can go a little more elaborate like this. You can, you know, just, you know, right here is basically white chartreuse, lime, and brown with a little bit of copper stenciled into it, and just a touch of orange on the throat. And I just splattered it with brown paint and put a clear coat on it. Just, you know, you can do something simple just like this, and look how good that looks. I mean, this is definitely one of my color patterns. When I go to start spraying crankbaits, that's one of my color patterns right there. And, you know, getting into painting the baits, like I said, you can do spray paint, which is the cheapest way of doing it, obviously, or you can go to an airbrush system. Now you can get a complete 0.0. Now what I use is 0.0. I know other guys use Iwatas, they use, you know, all this other fancy stuff. You don't really have to have that, guys. I mean, are they better airbrushes? Of course they are. But, you know, I'm not going to spend $250, $300 on an airbrush. I'm not going to do it. I can get the .0. You can get them off eBay, or you can get them, you know, online. You just look up .0, and you can get them online. Sorry, I'm not the kind of guy that puts a lot of links down below. I'm not the kind of person. I'll tell you exactly what it is. Just take notes as you're watching. That's usually what I do. And they're around $100, and it's got the quietest air tank or air compressor I've ever heard. I mean, it's like, and that's it. You don't even hear it hardly at all. If you're not paying attention, you never hear it. And the airbrushes that come with it have done, I mean, look, they do really good work. Just keep it clean, and you're okay. And then, of course, you can add on other airbrushes to it as you go on, like I have. So you can run like 2 or 3 colors at a time. And, you know, because whenever I spray, I always spray minimum 3 at a time. So there's also 2 others of these around. And that way I'm not wasting a lot of time just trying to paint one bait. Because I usually paint mine in batches, at least 3 or 4 of each. And that way if I lose one, hey, I got backups. Let's get this one out right here. So it costs a little bit, and of course then you got the paints. Well, you know, you can get, me personally, I use Createx. There's a lot of other companies out there. Some of the pastel colors I use are, I think it's called Apple Barrel or something. But it's just the same size paint bottles that you get in acrylics that you can get at hobby stores, but you have to thin them down in order to spray them. But they got some beautiful colors. I like using them to mix certain colors. And as a matter of fact, some of the blue that's on this bait was actually mixed with one of those Apple Barrel colors, and I just added other stuff to it, and of course thinned it out with reducer so I can be able to spray it. But you know, painting your own baits gives you an advantage over what you buy at stores. Like I said, these are Mega Bass blanks, and these are colors Mega Bass doesn't have. There's actually, I like the Mega Bass 110 pluses. I really do. I like them, and of course everybody else does too, or else they wouldn't be selling the crap out of them. But they don't really have a lot of colors that I'm just kind of like, wow, you know, I would definitely use that pattern. They don't have a lot of that. So one advantage is to get you some clear blanks, and you paint them yourself of what you envision to paint. And I do plan on doing spray session videos on this channel. I know there's a lot of people out there who do spray session videos, and I'm not trying to compete with any of them, but I have some patterns that I really like to paint, and I thought I would share some of those with you guys, like I did with the jig tying stuff, you know, some of the different jig skirt patterns that I've used. And I thought I would, you know, as I'm painting stuff, show you these. There's going to be a lot of wiggle warts. And I'm spraying on this channel because I love wiggle warts. And the wiggle warts that I buy from Predator Baits, he molded his from the original pre-Rapala wart. So it has that bill that's slightly off-center in the mold, and it gives you that hunting effect that just the new stuff just doesn't have. Don't even get me started on what Rapala did with that, or how Rapala ruined the wiggle wart. But either way, you know, painting your own base definitely gives you an advantage, and it does cost a little bit. I mean, your average price per paint kit from Createx, normally you buy them in a kit. You can buy individual colors as you move along. Like I bought some individual colors to help with different patterns that I was wanting to copy, and especially when it comes to the storm wiggle wart. And you know, you're looking at average of $30 per kit, and that could be an opaque kit, transparent kit, whatever it is you're looking at. And so, you know, go on YouTube and look up some of these guys that are doing some of this stuff. You know, Baker Builds and Jekyll, and my favorite guy to watch is Jeff over Green Country Baits, or Green Country Customs. He does a really good job, and I just like his just calm, relaxing nature and how he does stuff. And he's really good at matching colors to original baits. He's really good at that. So I learned a lot from him. So you can get ideas from different people. Um, you know, as far as like I was talking about blanks, there are certain companies that you need to be careful with because they are Chinese and they are questionable, and you really have to be careful what you buy. Just about everybody makes a wiggle wart, but not everybody makes a pre-Rapala wiggle wart, and not everybody puts the same kind of rattles in them. So you have to be very careful about that. W lure that you can get on eBay makes some pretty good blanks, but be very cautious about those. I've gotten some from there, and I was not too happy with them. As far as how they were constructed, the kind of rattles they put in them, and everything else, and a few of them I've thrown just to test you can always test the blanks before you paint them. You just put split rings and hooks on them, take them to your pond or your pool or whatever, try them out, and it'll give you an idea what the bait does and see if you like it or not. A lot of stuff from W Lure and a lot of stuff from DH Gate, when I was testing them in the water, it just out of the bag, put the hooks on, throw them in the water, I was getting water leakage inside the bait. That's a no-no. I understand you're going to seal it and everything else and this, that, and the other. That means that they were not molded together very well. So that bait could very well come apart on you. So you don't want that. So I tend to stay away from W Lure and DH Gate. W Lure makes a better product than DH Gate, but still, if you want to go that route, I would stick with W Lure, not DH Gate. There's other companies, online that are really good. Like I said, I prefer Predator for a lot of my stuff, but you've also got Dinger. You've got, there's Dinger. There's Bigger Builds has some stuff. Everything, and they all make good quality stuff. And a lot of stuff's made here in the USA, so that's what you're looking for. Jim at Predator does a really good job with the baits he makes, and like I said, that's the wiggle wart that I use myself, and I like the suspending wiggle wart. He offers several different kind of wiggle warts. I like the suspending because it's the heaviest, and it has a different sounding rattle chamber underwater than like this floating model. That's something else too. If you want to test what a rattle sounds like, fill your kitchen sink with water, hold this lure underwater, and just start shaking it by itself without the hooks and stuff on it. The rattle changes. It's a deeper sounding rattle than what you hear in the air. You put it in water and you start shaking it around, and it gives you a kind of an idea what that rattle's going to sound like. So that's why I use the suspending on those. But it does cost a little bit of money. I mean, if you want to get started on airbrushing lures, by the time you buy the starter kit from Point Zero, which gives you the compressor, about 3 different kind of airbrushes, and everything, you get that, and you start buying maybe just a basic beginner selection of paints. You're probably going to be looking at about $200 to $250 to get started on that, and that doesn't include the price of the blanks. But remember, especially if you go on eBay and you look up blanks, if you see a pack, this is a perfect example. I saw a pack of these 110 pluses on eBay, and a guy wanted $20 for a 10 pack. I'm like, $20 for a 10 pack? That don't sound right. So I zoomed the pictures in and looked at them really closely, and they were missing half of the stuff that's in this one right here. I mean, he really goes to the detail of putting rattles in certain chambers, just like the mega basses are. I mean, every chamber's got a different size rattle, different type of rattle inside of here, and the counterweights are even a lot different than what you see in some other ones. These balls are actually designed to be the perfect size, and most of the time when you buy these from other manufacturers like that, like 10 for 20 bucks or whatever, they really float high. They're just like, whoop, they float to the surface. And any of you guys who have ever thrown these, that's not what they're supposed to do. Jim's got these set up to where they have a very slow float up, and you can put like a suspend dot on there, a storm suspend dot, and make that thing perfect. Or you can use a different size hook, or a different thickness of hook, or put more paint or more clear coat on here to weigh it down. But you learn as you go on. I can't sit here and tell you how to do every single bait because every bait's different. I'm not even, you know, I don't know what kind of blank you're going to be throwing. But blanks, you're better off to spend, I know this sounds weird, but you're better off to spend the money on blanks than to get a bunch of cheap stuff that doesn't work the way you want it to. I'd soon spend $3 or $4 per blank and get a quality product than I would spend $1 or $1.50 and get something that's a piece of junk. So I think these are around $3 on the average, and I would soon just buy something like that and paint it the way I want it, and then you got you a mega bass that you spent $3 on the blank, or you can spend $25 on a finished product on a color that you're compromising because you're like, yeah, it's close enough as far as what I want to throw. Don't do close enough. Paint what you want. So do I think painting your lures is an advantage? Yes, I do. Do you have to do it? No. You can buy store-bought stuff. I've got store-bought stuff. It depends on what you want. You know, as far as, you know, building and designing your own balsa plug, you know, this is basically, to me, is a Bagley B3, but I did something different with the lip. And, you know, the line ties actually through that. So, yeah, so I did something different with these when I build them. Plus, it has a very small rattle in it. But that's just something I did, and I love building balsa baits. So, anyway, painting your own lures is definitely an advantage. It definitely costs you a little bit of money to get involved in it, but you don't have to spend a fortune to do it if you don't want to. Like I said, spray cans are just fine too. But you have to get creative with spray cans. You can't just like spray a back on it and be done with it. You got your stencils to keep your shading. You know, look how fine that shading is on that back. And that was done with spray cans. But I used a stencil the same shape as this to get this side and then this side. So you have that narrow type back on it. That's just how I did that. I make a graffiti person jealous. Stuff I could do with a spray can. But I prefer the airbrushes. I really do. But that's all I have, guys. So I hope this helps you out a little bit. You know, I'm sure some of you have thought about doing it. And like I said, it does cost you a little bit to get involved, but you don't have to spend a fortune if you don't want to. You can buy the basics and be fat, dumb, and happy with those. So anyway, that's all I have for that, guys. So until next time, may the Father bless you, keeping Yeshua's name. And as always, fish on. Ain't that pretty?